I've like successfully RQ pilled Plat Chat. I've successfully RQ pilled all of you in chat. I've successfully RQ pilled all the VCT Pacific casters. I have done my job. I am so proud of it. I'm so proud of it. Hello, YouTube. Welcome back to another week. Another week has passed, and that means it's time to review our horrendously wrong power rankings yet again for VCT Pacific. We just wrapped up league play for Stage 1, and now we're getting ready for the mid-season playoffs, aka Stage 1 playoffs. So now we're down to just 6 teams. But now that we've gotten a better look at all the teams, and we still had a couple, surprises here and there, I think it's a good chance to look at this. We'll do the power rankings now going into playoffs, and then we won't revisit it until playoffs is entirely over, and we'll see how things go. So we'll do rankings first. Sorry, blanked out there. We'll do rankings first, and then we'll go right into our playoff pickems. Let's jump right in. So as always, on the left side, we have last week's rankings going into week 4, the last week of league play. You see the numbers that were switched from the week before. So DFM had fallen from the graces in my POV. I think they had fell earlier for a lot of people, but they fell all the way down. I finally gave up a little bit of copium for T1, but some people still gave me a lot of flack for still ranking them 6th. We'll get to that. RQ fell off a little bit. And DRX has finally reclaimed their spot as the top team in Pacific in my heart. It took them a little while, but they got there. Listen, they finally got over their toughest opponent, which was me. And now they stand as currently the best team because they're undefeated in league play. Where to start? Okay, let's start with the easy. Okay, let's start with the playoff teams. So obviously we have these 3 that moved on from their groups, and then we have Team Secret, Talon getting their way in, and perhaps the biggest surprise in a lot of ways, T1 making it into playoffs for Pacific. We're going to start with the big 3. DRX, PRX, GENG. I think I'm still ranking these 3 over these 3 pretty consistently. And quite frankly, I don't think anything changes. I think DRX continue to look absolutely amazing. And I firmly believe they still haven't shown us everything they've got. But the biggest thing for me is like, dude, Bane is so invaluable for this team. It's insane to think that there was a world we might not have seen him. And again, the circumstances are unfortunate. And I do wonder, and I hope to see Flashback again sometime. But dude, Bane is invaluable. Like, Bane is MVP for me, for just all the whole league. Bane is the MVP for league play. Like, this guy is goated. He makes so many good individual decisions. He's got clutch genes. He's got great aim. He's got pretty good movement. He's flexing for the team. He'll fill whatever role he needs to. This guy's doing it all. He is doing it all. He's allowing DRX to kind of reinvent themselves. So I'm a big fan. I am a huge Bane fan. I am so glad. I mentioned when he was announced that I'm very glad we finally get to see how he would perform on Tier 1. And he is absolutely exceeding my expectations for sure. So very happy with that. And then I'm going to put PRX and GENG. We'll get to GENG in a little bit, but PRX, I mean, yeah, they fell to Team Secret, so they had a bit of a rough patch. They recuperated very well right afterwards. That was also Team Secret having really good ante against PRX. I do think in that game, PRX also just looked a bit more wobbly as well in terms of their comms and their timings. But again, 5 very skilled players, very unique style, and that hasn't changed. PRX is still PRX. So I believe that they should be a solid second. Could they still contest against DRX? Yes, I think so. But I think DRX is in a much better position this time around than they were last year when they had to face up against PRX. GENG. Listen, for instance, if I was watching someone else's ranking, if someone had ranked like GENG on like a similar kind of tied for question mark alongside like Team Secret or Talon, I don't think I would blame them. But I think the peaks that we saw from Secret and Talon compete with GENG and could beat GENG. But I don't think we've quite seen the peak from GENG. So that's where I stand. Granted, also, the question remains on how much more like new stuff does GENG have and how much of it is really good, considering that obviously, they were one of the teams that went to Masters Madrid. They actually played all the way to the finals. So they had to play a little bit of just very like stabilization style meta and like default heavy, things like that, coming into stage 1. So maybe not, but in terms of power level, right? I still think they're ranked 3rd. If the schedule got to them and they can't invent themselves fast enough, then that sucks. It sucks for them. But I would say I still rate them high up there. If you haven't noticed, T1 is not above Team Secret or Talon for me. So let's talk about Team Secret and Talon first. Oh man, this is a tough one. Okay, so let me explain this first. I think I used to think Team Secret should still slightly, ever so slightly, have an edge over Talon in terms of just individual firepower and mechanics, right? Mostly because I rate Jeremy, and Envy has always been rated very high, but I also put Jeremy up there. I put Jeremy and Envy very high in my own personal standings. And I think NDG has stabilized enough that he can do he does his job. And Jesse Vash has been back to just firing, right? Ever since he gave that mouse away, which by the way, that might be the best move that any team has done in VCT Pacific so far, is giving that darn cursed mouse away after the 0-kill game. Because ever since then, Jesse Vash has been firing. And Borkum, I would say, has gotten more consistently back to like having decent clutch power. So that's where and this was nothing against Talon. I just rated like Jeremy and Envy super high. But then, watching Talon week to week, and obviously they also beat Team Secret, but I look at it and I'm like, you know what? No, you're right. Like Governor has always performed pretty well. For some reason, I personally still rate Jeremy's peaks a little bit higher, but I also think they obviously play a little bit differently. Governor seems to be very capable of playing both a like sacrificial space creating type duelist versus a fragging out opping duelist. And then Ban has gotten like even more consistent in my opinion. And he's also able to kind of pick and choose if he wants to go supporting role or carry role. Jit Boys, obviously, I would say Jit Boys was the one that I would like match with Envy and Jeremy before, and he's still there. Cruz is still doing very solid. And then Lenny and Surf, like the whole 6-man thing, it's working out. Neither of them are like always hard carrying in terms of frags, but they're doing their jobs very solid, and they have some clutch genes. And Surf especially, I mean, I'm happy with him being able to kind of be another, hey, I'll flex for the team, I'll switch roles for the team, and I'll play a bit more in the back lines, a bit more quote unquote boring Valorant, things like that. So now I think Talon matches. I don't think Secret is necessarily above, but in that sense, if they play like peak Valorant on both sides, I think they're evenly matched. But then Secret, we saw it in the Talon match, that mental consistency seems to still be a little bit unstable. I actually think Talon bests them on that front. I think Talon bests them in terms of, just in general, I think Talon might have a better mental consistency going on in terms of really being able to stay in the zone no matter what they're doing. I think that's there a little bit. I would say the calling, I'm a bigger fan of Talon's style of calling or like their movement. But I think Jesse is obviously very, very good at what he does on Secret. So it's very 50-50. I'm going to argue that personally right now, I think I might see a brighter future for Talon. But that's a bit of like that's an unknown, right? That's in the future. So for now, we'll keep them tied. We'll figure out what we want to do with them at the end. T1. So here's the crazy part. Do I think T1 is solidly 6th? No, I don't. They're in playoffs. They are in the top 6 teams. But do I think they are solidly 6th? No. I just don't. I don't think so. I think they should at the very least be tied. Some people in chat are saying they think RQ should be above T1. Chat, I'm just going to put this out there, by the way. I've like successfully RQ pilled Plat chat. I've successfully RQ pilled all of you in chat. I've successfully RQ pilled all the VCT Pacific casters. I have done my job. I am so proud of it. I'm so proud of it. But yeah, obviously, so Estrella posted on Twitter that they switched to him IGLing a week ago. And, he was able to lead them to a victory over GENG. It was hard fought, but obviously a successful victory there, a very meaningful one, finally beating GENG for the first time. And I do think RQ comes up with better ideas. maybe we'll stick with this. I might review this at the end, but we'll stick with this. The reason it just feels better is like, just on paper, T1 shouldn't be this. Just pure individual firepower should get them above this. You know what I mean? They've squandered it so much. But anyway, we'll leave this for there. I mean, I think RQ being right in the middle of the pack, though, I think it's very reasonable. Personally, I have higher hopes for them in stage 2, especially like if this new IGL change, etc., is something that they're happy with. Okay, then give it time, let it build up. I'm down to watch that. I'm down to watch that change. Oof. Okay, I'm sorry for GFM, but we're gonna go with the easy one first. We're gonna go with DFM down here. Listen, I mean, with Bleed, I think Bleed should look better in stage 2. I think Bleed should look better in stage 2. I think they're starting to figure, at the very least, they're starting to figure out their strengths a bit more. But the competition's just really tough, right? Again, they're still in Pacific, just so we're all clear. Like, these rankings, just because you're bottom team doesn't suddenly mean that you're, like, the worst team in the world. You're still in Pacific, right? So, listen, somebody has to be last. Somebody has to be second to last. DFM shows better ideas than Bleed. And Bleed has admitted publicly that they are not able to try to, like, come up with more ideas, right? They have to focus on perfecting the very basics right now because of their comms, etc., etc. I totally get it, and I respect it. You know what? You gotta fix it from the ground up. That's fine. And I still believe that the ideas that DFM showed against T1 were very good. I thought that was a very good foundation. I thought it went to show how good their prep is, and the direction of their coaching and their practice seems to be in a very good direction. I firmly believe that. But for one, they just haven't really been able to recreate that magic. And two, even in that T1 match, the attacking was so weak. It was the defense that really carried them in that match. But then on top of that, the defense hasn't really shined much more. Like, the mid-rounding is still pretty weak. So now, once they get red and once they get outpaced a little bit, they struggle. Now, Medusa's lurking, etc., has gotten a bit better. That's fine. But then, bottom line, the firepower is rough. The firepower is rough, in my opinion, for DFM. And again, is it a consistency thing or a personal cap thing? That I could not tell you, right? Because I don't know what they look like in scrims. And I just think if Bleed can at least just say, like, worst comes to worst, let's play to our strengths. Like, everyone just, like, frag out individually. Like, we just play super basic default. The firepower alone, I think, should carry them over DFM, in my opinion, right? Like, Zest and Scary. Even Ye, we've seen some more glimpses of his old self. Still not there consistently, obviously still playing a very different style and meta. And Retla's been picking up a lot of slack. I would say Darion's still just kind of doing his job. So personally, I rank Bleed over DFM just ever so slightly, just because I think if push comes to shove, if both of them are like, they get lost. If they're playing against each other and they get lost, I think Bleed's individual heroics and firepower would carry them further. And this is not just because Bleed beat DFM. I just think just overall what we saw in their last games, I think Bleed just showed that, okay, worst case, they can just play very, very basic default and play to their strengths. And, Now, G versus ZETA is an interesting one. But at the end of the day, I'll finally, this is one of those times that you'll see me referencing this, but I think just the crazy firepower that Depp and Laz brings absolutely puts them over GE. I think GE has shown some good ideas. I think they've shown some great calling. I think they are on the road to improvement. I actually think the ideas that GE brings are better. But, like, Depp and Laz are just... They are so ridiculously good. And I have trouble imagining that can't carry them above it. Above GE. But, like, listen, in stage 2, if you told me who do you think will show even more improvement, I mean, maybe I would say GE. But as much as GE is showing better ideas, here's the other thing. Benkai is still pretty weak, right? Granted, he's often in a position where he's not in firefights, but he is still very quiet, relatively speaking. He's still very quiet. I think Polvi's finally found a little bit more, how to put it, like exactly the best way to play his job for his team, like the best way to successfully carry out the style and the prep that they've done. But it's just that Depp and Laz are they're especially Depp. I mean, Laz has his moments, especially like it's like if he's on the chamber, he's got his moments, But like Depp is a freak of nature, man. Depp is, no, I don't think I have to defend this any further. Listen, I love what G's been showing, and I think they should continue to improve. The question will always be, can they improve faster than some of the other teams? Because a lot of these teams are improving, other than, a couple. So that's always going to be the question for GE. But I was very happy with what GE showed. I think it's a shame that, with the format and the schedule, that it's short. And so it kind of ends as we're seeing we're seeing some of the fruits of their labor. But I have big hopes for GE in terms of their individual performance in Stage 2. Again, results, it's all relative. All right, so going back to Team Secret Talon. I think so. I think it's got to be this. I think it's got to be the APAC USBs. It's just hard to choose. I mean, I could choose, and here I'll even put this out there. If you told me I had to choose, right? If you said you absolutely have to choose, no USBs allowed, I think I would put Talon over them. But do I have strong proof? Like, do I have a very, very solid reason? No, I just kind of like the Valorant they're playing currently a bit better. Listen, I'm on the USB. Yeah, listen. Some people aren't going to be happy with that, right? They're going to be like, well, we just beat them. Well, what's going on here? But hey, at least you're not ranked 9th anymore. You know what I mean? At least I'm seeing some of the light. So hey, you prove it again, maybe it'll be even higher. Who knows? Listen, I know they beat TS, but do I think they could? The reason I'm saying, okay, let me just clarify this one last time. They beat Team Secret, so Talon moves up in my head, but I think them beating Secret does not necessarily bring Secret down. You know what I mean? I think Talon moves up from 5th to 4th, but I don't think it brings Team Secret down, because if they fix that mental problem, then, and quite frankly, I think the mental consistency block they had against Talon is very different from the mental consistency block they had of closing out games last year. I think that match, it was absolutely an ego problem for Secret. I'm just going to put that out there, okay? I think it was absolutely an ego problem. And if you can fix that, then I think we'd have to wait and see again. Now, if we see it happen again, right, even against like other teams, okay, then I would be like, all right, Team Secret, you're once again the great gatekeeper, and you are going to be 5th and 6th forever. But I'm willing to give him a just one more shot. I'm willing to give him one more shot. All right, let's put in the numbers. We got no changes in the top 3. T1 and DFM, man, breaking my heart nonstop. So these are my power rankings, right? How I rate their overall power level going into playoffs. I am emphasizing this because we are about to go into our pickems, and I have some opinions about my pickems. Ready? Let's get to it. Okay, so before we go into the playoff pickems, we'll just review real quick. You can take a glance. You can look at the previous week's videos for everything. Obviously, week 3 was not nice to me. I only got 2 correct. But hey, week 4 wasn't so bad. I trusted in Team Secret. And then, head coach Frost told me that I was wrong once again. So I was proven wrong. And overall, this puts me at a 57% success rate for league play of Stage 1. That might actually be the worst I've ever done for a Pacific/Korea pick'ems. Team Secret versus T1. I'm sending T1 up. All right. Now, before you get riled up, before everyone who's watching this gets riled up and tells me that I gotta just let go of the copium, I've got even more for you. I think Talon's gonna move up too. How do we feel about that? Now, let me just do a brief explanation. There's not much to it. There's not much to it. The first point is these would be the upsets. 100%. These would be the upsets. Okay. I think T1's gonna just make sure they don't squander this chance. And you know what? If they squander this chance, I don't know. I might even just take them off of my rankings, because I don't even know what I would do if they just absolutely look no different. I mean, whether win or lose, they at least have to look different. There's no way that they don't look different. After all of this, after being given a second chance, and you know who did this last year? You know who did this last year? Here's my biggest reasoning for this. GENG did this last year. They looked like they should not have been in playoffs. They looked like they absolutely just got mega lucky with the overall record by getting into playoffs, and then they almost made a run. And it was like, oh, this shouldn't be happening. This shouldn't be happening, but it did. And I honestly feel like T1 might do the same. I'm just gonna put that out there. Listen, firepower wise, I don't think they should absolutely lose to Secret. It's just that recently T1's looked very lost, right? I think everyone agrees. With that. I mean, Secret's very powerful, but the biggest reason I think everyone agrees Secret should be the go-to winners here is because Secret doesn't look lost and T1 looks lost. But hopefully they found the map and they can now find their way. And Secure can tell them turn right, turn left, and then they can find their destination. And their destination is GENG. All right, we're gonna leave it there. Okay, Talon versus PRX. I actually think Talon players have the capability to match PRX in terms of tempo. I don't think they're going to be too shaken up by the tempo. Whether Cruz's calling can keep up with it is, I think, going to be the biggest test. And I actually think there is a world where, like, if Surf's playing on some maps, maybe Surf has to be kind of calmed down again. But overall, I think they can match the tempo. So it's really the calling from Cruz. And I think prep-wise, I think Talon will be okay. PRX also hasn't shown too much new stuff, but I actually don't think they will. I think for PRX, they're still trying to figure out. For DRX GENG, I feel like they've probably got some new stuff that they haven't really showed yet. For PRX, I feel like they were in that zone of like, hey, we got to figure out how to make sure we're working together as a team again with Jing and we still haven't figured out the meta even for kickoff in Madrid. So I feel like they probably have a couple things in the works, but I think Talon have a shot. No, my meds are just fine. To be very fair, I did not take my cold meds this morning because it's just a congestion, but I'm fine, chat. It's just my nose that is congested. Okay, moving on. GENG versus T1. I want to do it so bad. Oh, I want to do it so bad. No, it's not even the T1 cope. I just can't imagine the turmoil that the GENG fans would fall into if T1 beat them. 0% pick 'em. Get out of here. I don't think they can. I don't think it's happening, chat. That's where the copium ends, chat. I don't think it's happening. Listen. We had our fun. GENG's moving on. And listen, we had our fun. DRX is moving on. It gets boring again, I know. Although Talon beating DRX, listen, actually, if it wasn't for Bane, I would have fun and maybe pick Talon. But dude, this Bane is literally Korean Zelsis. You just, in the beginning of 2024, obviously Sentinel's not exactly in the best spot right now. But dude is just this unknown, unbeatable force, all right? All right, I just can't. Bane is just too strong. Bane's just too strong. And then going into the lower round, I think they would beat them again, quite frankly, because you would have seen if T1 did anything crazy here, you would have seen it. So I think Talon would beat them again. In which case, chat, Talon is going to Shanghai. Woo! We have a new team going to Shanghai. Not necessarily all new players, because Surf and Cruz have been there before. But that would be hype. At this point, this one in a best of 5. Ooh, in a best of 5? In a best of 5. Frost is not in this room, chat. Don't worry about it. No. That would be that. I would have too much fun. I would have too much fun if I put Talon over GENG. But in a best of 5? But Talon hasn't played a best of 5, right? So I think GENG wins. And then I think DRX wins. I'm so DRX pilled. From number 1 Korean DRX doubter to now being mega DRX pilled. And DRX can thank Bane for that. This is literally all Bane. Bane has made me an absolute believer. No, it's okay. The biggest thing for me is that JitBoys now feels like he's really part of the flow. And if your best player, who was always performing best, even if he wasn't always part of the flow because of the comms, is now part of your flow, I feel like Talon's in a really good spot to be able to continue to improve as a team now. You know what I mean? Like, I think they can continue to be on the up and up. Obviously, Governor and Ban showing that they can both be like hard carries when needed, but also like supporting roles. That's really reassuring as well. So I really like where this Talon roster is going. Again, this would be an upset. I don't know if this would be an upset. It would really depend on how T1 looks during playoffs, but I don't know if this one would be an upset if it got there. But this would be an absolute upset. It would be an absolute... This would be a bigger upset than this in some... actually, no, I take that back. T1 looks so lost right now. This one might be a bigger upset. But PaperX is also so strong. So they would both be very similar levels of upsets. I'm not denying that. But I think there's a chance. Listen, chat. We're going to submit it, and my pick'ems are going to rise to the top. It said invalid. Why was it invalid? What? Wait. What? Why are they denying me my... What's going on here? Hold on. What's going on here? What? Okay. Oh, geez. Oh, VLR, what are you doing? Oh my gosh, even the website's telling me I'm wrong. Nope, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen, chat. Talon and T1, they're gonna show up strong. All right. Before we wrap up, I just want to say, I agree that the favorites. So currently in Pacific, I think everyone would agree that's DRX, PaperX, and GENG. I think that if those 3 went to Shanghai, it would be one of the best feeling tournaments for Pacific fans, right? I think we would have some of the best chances, absolutely, with the consistency that these teams have shown, the peaks that some of them have hit before. They've all got international experience. It would be great. However, I think it would also be so exciting to see Team Secret or Talon making it into the top 3. I think both of them having the chance to go international, right? Obviously, some of those players have been international before, but with their new rookies, with their new rosters, and kind of prove what they got, you know, get some hard-earned experience. I think that would be cool too. Notice that T1's not in that conversation. As much as I was T1 pilled for the knockout round, I don't think they're going to make it into the top 3. But I think Talon or Team Secret would be very exciting. I think it'd be a very exciting story, and I don't think it would be the craziest thing. So overall, I think these playoffs should be fun. So we shall see how it goes. Let me know down in the comments below if you think I'm overcooking. Do you think the toast is burnt? Do you think it's, you know, just gone, it's up in smokes? Or do you think, okay, you know, this could be a new dish? Let me know down in the comments below. Feel free to link your own pick'ems as well, and we can all compare how we're doing going into playoffs. Playoffs begins this weekend in Pacific, and then it extends into the next weekend as well. So we will revisit all of these once the entire playoffs is over. That's it for now. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and a comment below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more VCT Pacific content in the future. See you all next week.